Hey guys, Andy N, spoken label. Early Sunday morning podcast today. I'm a little bit surprised my guest is actually here in one piece after the weekend she's just had. We've got the amazing, I've been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks now, Amanda Crundall with us. Now, I normally ask my guests, so first of all, to give us an introduction to what they've been up at, where the creativity came from, but we will do that. But Amanda's been in my neck of the woods over the weekend. So I think you should telling us all first of all what you've been up to this weekend, Amanda, because it sounds like you've had a heck of a venture.
Yeah, it's been very eventful. It's been great. So yeah, it's been nice to go back to Manchester. So to be honest, we were actually over in Manchester to watch play. So we went to the Manchester Opera House and we were watching Henry IV with Ian McKellen in it, which was absolutely amazing.
I work round the
Very
corner from there.
long,
I work round
really
the corner from there,
long,
yeah.
bumbuster production, but it was really, really, really good. So yeah, it was brilliant. And then on Saturday, I joined Hannah Kate's bookshelf show on the poetry special. Obviously, Hannah really well. So had an absolutely brilliant afternoon with a fantastic group of poets performing on the radio. So there were 13 of us in total. So we all had a good catch up in between everybody's performances. So it was a lovely, lovely afternoon. So yeah, I'm shattered. It's been a really action packed weekend, and here we are, 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning now,
Yeah.
Andy.
I don't know you've done it honest to God with that. Like it, I would have been cream crackered. Blooded you after that map running
I
round.
am tired. This is no lie.
Oh God, yeah. We should tell people obviously what Hannah's bookshelf is. It's a program on North Manchester FM, and yearly, I've told you off mic. She's been doing this for about 7 or 8 years now, and she's once a year she has a live poetry special when she has loads of poets coming in, and I've done about half a dozen of them, and they're brilliant shows. But they're absolutely they can get really really busy and noisy, as you discovered yesterday.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
that's
no,
why.
yeah, it was just buzzing in that room. Everybody was, we were tuning in, listening to obviously the live broadcast, and then in between very, very quickly doing all you're catching it with everybody, and coming across names where you think, right, you're so and so, right. So no, it was just a fab afternoon. So back later than I thought, back in East Yorkshire, but we made it back.
In one piece for another day, definitely. So, right,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I need to go
right.
into rehab now for a week.
Oh, it took me about a week to get over that. That's for sure. So I know what I'm like. Now we'll go and backtrack now. Then, okay. So we'll go and take you back into the mists of time. In your case, just a couple of years ago, right? So, so tell us first of all then about your creativity. I know you originally started, didn't you, when you were younger, and there was a
Yeah.
gap in between it, wasn't there? So tell us about where it all came from originally and what's led you back to your creativity.
Yeah, so yeah, as you alluded to, when I was younger, 18, 19, certainly used to write some words on paper and always loved reading literature and always loved reading plays. So I kind of always wrote a little bit about thoughts and feelings. But then I suppose you go down into your career and you focus on your training. Obviously, I'm a nurse, so I qualified as a nurse. You study, and then you do the next qualification, you do the next qualification, and you find that you're pulled away sometimes from that creativity. And um, since then, I've had a very vibrant career as a heart failure nurse for over 20 years. I've got a young family. I've got a son who's nearly double figures in a couple of weeks. So my son will be 10. My daughter's 7 this year. So obviously, being a mum, a parent, you're absolutely chock a block. You're busy. But what brought me back to my creative self is it's I suppose it's quite a sad route back in, really, but a really, really powerful and empowering one. And a good couple of years ago, I found myself in quite a low place. So mental health was really quite low. I was really in a dark place, struggling with lots of changes that needed to happen in my personal life, but it took some adapting to and acceptance of you know life is changing. It needs to change, but it's still very difficult. And I found myself very, very low. And friends and family around me said, you know, maybe if you put some words on paper, maybe write down how you're feeling, it would help. And that's exactly what I did. And for once, I was told, and I
No
wrote.
comment.
I wrote down how I was feeling, and I found that to be very, very cathartic, really, really self-empowering. And that's where I stumbled across the first spoken word group that I performed at, which was Yada Yada in Hull. And that was a group that Alice Godber had set up, and went along to that, and bumped into some lovely, lovely people who said, "Are you going to perform?" And I was very hesitant. I don't know what I'm doing here really. And they gave me a lot of encouragement to say, no, go up, go up and perform it. It will take it one step further. Maybe, it will make me feel really, really good about doing it. So I did. And, the rest is history. I've just kept on writing, and it has become such a powerful outlet. I've met so many wonderful, wonderful people, and absolutely found the creativity in myself again through that darkness, really. And you find light within the darkness, and it's certainly shining really bright these days. So yeah, in a nutshell, a long nutshell that is. That's how I came back to it.
Yeah, they always say sometimes, and I'm mentoring someone at the moment actually on writing, and I know she's had to take a step backwards, but I've turned around and said to her, she's only quite a young lady, this one, but don't give up yet in your writing. It'll come back. It's like riding a bicycle. I always believe it sneaks back up when you least expect it, that one. So
Yeah, I completely agree. And I know a lot of people talk about, oh, I can't write at the moment. I've got no inspiration, or it's just not coming. And it's not something you can force. It just happens. And I know that might seem quite, anxiety provoking when you think, oh, I'm a writer, I'm a performer, I'm a poet. Oh, why am I not thinking about something to write? But the more you think about it and overthink, it won't happen. And you've just got to just step back and just
it comes and it comes.
ride with
Yeah.
it, and it will come back.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've got to ask you before we go on to your book, which is what we're here for today, primarily. Now, I noticed from your bio when I was researching you last night, this is expert spoken label, investigation working. Not really. But I'm curious to know about this song you wrote about a stray cat that visited your house, 3 children.
Oh gosh, yeah. So yeah, that was Charlie Chalkpaws.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, that was so. Gosh, when was that? It must have been 12 years ago. So it was when we were living in Skidby. So it was just pre Zach. So it was 10 years ago. And this stray cat decided to wander in, and found him hiding within the shoe area in the kitchen, spooking the resident cat. And he was just an amazing character, was Charlie Shortpaws. So yes, I did do a little bit of writing, and it was a song. I'm not going to sing it.
You're probably a better singer than I am. That's all I'm going to say. I've
You
sung,
don't
I've
know
sung,
that. You don't know
I've
that.
fronted bands for my singing, and we've got through it. And I don't know how to this day for some of that, but yeah.
But
Oh,
yes, I did. I actually wrote two songs. There's
oh, did you?
also
Wow.
the late Picasso. Oh, he was the best cat in the world. Bless him, he died a couple of years ago. So there's a song about Picasso as well. So yeah, I'm a huge cat lover, as you're probably gathering as well.
Great. What you need to do is get one of your children singing in a couple of years' time. Keep them in tune and give the songs to them to sing in
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
place.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be the new Tabby Tap song.
Brilliant. Now, okay, we're here today to talk about your book anyway, but I need to check with you first of all to keep. I like to try and keep some got a logical time, but instead of wandering all around the place. Which came first, the idea for your book or the night you run with the wonderful Amy rabbiting on? Which came first?
Oh, right. So the Rabbiting On
Ah, right.
group came first, absolutely. So we've been running Rabbiting On, which is the second Tuesday of every month, over at the Rabbit Hole bookshop in Brigg, North Lincolnshire. So we've just had our first anniversary actually. So we've been going a year with that. Brilliant, brilliant little spoken word community in a beautiful bookshop that's
He
run by
looks
Nick
it.
and Mel. They are
Looks it.
super. They're so supportive of the group. So yeah, so I originally met Amy at the No Limits Festival at Normanby Hall, just yeah, a good 18 months ago. And Amy was running the spoken word stage. So we'd never met at that point. So I met her at that festival, and we hit it off and started chatting about, oh, this would be good. Shall we do that? Shall we do that? And here we go. A year later, we've got a really great spoken word group over in Brigg. So yeah, that came first. The book, I never ever thought I would have a book. It's not something that's ever been on my bucket list.
Mm.
I suppose it was just reflecting on how many poems I had, and I thought, crikey, you know, I've nearly hit 100 in a couple of years, and I thought, maybe I should publish a book. So I looked into it a little bit, sat on it a while, then came back to the idea again, and then all of a sudden it was like, right, this is happening. Obviously, the book Heart on Her Sleeve is published by Partnership Publishing, Enigma Press, who have been fantastic. To be fair, Florence and the team have been really supportive and very encouraging, and have done a great job of helping me promote that so far as well. There's lots in the pipeline to do some more further marketing with them. So yeah, it happened quite suddenly, really. But it was never something that I thought I would be doing. It's just evolved. I've kept on writing. I've collected all these different performance pieces. Obviously, lots and very much about emotional feelings and thoughts and acceptance or rejection, as well as general poems about life, adventure, being a parent, and that's just come together. And I've now got a book which is a bit surreal. It's a bit surreal.
It tends to be. I think it's when you get into your poetry, this is a general tip for everybody. I think this applies to you as well, Amanda. Is things sneak off in directions you don't expect, and like it'd be like I said, you wouldn't know. So I've been active more years than I'm going to admit, for about 15 years now, and I found myself when I first started, I thought, no, I won't bring a book out. Well, one turned into two, and they expanded. But you do. It's weird with poetry. It leads down rabbit holes. Like you said, rabbiting on, for example.
Yeah.
Like it'd be. Could you envisage yourself running a night, for example, even after you start a year or two after you started writing again?
No,
Yeah.
I can remember. I can remember helping some of the other groups. And when during illness and things, and I was like, oh, I don't mind doing a little bit of hosting. I'll help out a bit. And I thought, oh yeah, that's quite cool. I quite like that. But never for 1 minute thought that I'd end up kind of hosting a group with the lovely Amy Garratt. So it's just wonderful. It's just brilliant, and she's my absolute poetry babe in crime.
Oh, she's brilliant. Love Amy. Love
Yeah,
her. Love her. Met her. Like people know us. I've met
most
her.
beautiful
What?
person inside and out is
Yeah,
that
met her a month or
lovely
two ago.
lady.
Lovely. Really. I can see I'm talking to you today, Amanda. Because people wonder we hadn't spoke before today, and I knew first. I see from where you are talking. I can see why you and Amy make such a good team. You do because it's. I mean, you're running nights, and if you don't know people, it's the beauty of it is getting to know how each other's nooks and cracks. I think sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're a great team. We support each other. Yeah, we balance each other out. We bounce off each other. So yeah, it's good. It's really good stuff. It's
Yeah,
been
definitely.
an amazing outlet, and I feel so grateful for what I've achieved, what I've been involved in, and people that I've met and continue to meet. It's like being on Hannah Kate's show yesterday. It was just wonderful. Just being in this room full of creative people and energy and like-minded people, everybody
Definitely.
rooting for each other, and supporting each other every time somebody's performed. It's just lovely.
No,
It's
agreed. Agreed. Now, I have to ask you next, obviously. I've got a couple more questions at Rabbit, and I know we'll talk about it anyway. But we're going to do a deep dive in the second half on the book anyway.
Sure.
podcaster. You tell I'm tired today as well. Well, anyway, that's my fault, that. But yeah, now, where did the title of your book come from? I've seen you state this on your publisher's things. I think it's quite nice. You should tell people, possibly.
Yeah, so my personality is very much, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm very an open and brutally honest person. I say how I feel, I share how I feel. I'm very open about that, and sometimes maybe that can be a problem, and has been in my lifetime. But on the other side, that can help other people because you're sharing how you're feeling, and what do they say, a problem shared is a problem halved. And if you're able to be able to relate to people through your writing, through your poetry, then you can make a difference. And I absolutely have spent my whole life wearing my heart on my sleeve. My Facebook poetry page is called She Wears Her Heart on Her Sleeve. And obviously the book had to be a variation of that. So yeah, it is called Heart on Her Sleeve because that's exactly what I'm about.
No, that's fair play. That's fair play to that, and that's why you like what I've seen your poetry as well. Is I think the book is a great title for a book. This as well for you as well because the book is, like you've said already, is you. It's a person with your heart on your sleeve. Yeah, it's worked. I think it's interesting. Like I said, I know you work full time in the NHS. You've got two young, well, not say young, so young children, two very demanding children in a nice way, and you're running a night as well. It's like, do you find it? You like it sometimes you do all these bits and pieces. It's trying to get time to do everything, really, isn't it? Sometimes.
Absolutely, and I do have a busy job. I work with the NHS, not for
Oh,
them anymore,
apologies.
but that's
Apologies.
okay. But yeah, it is a really really busy job, but it complements well with being on my own with my two kiddies. So I'm incredibly grateful and lucky to have the job that I have, alongside being a single mum, and that is challenging. And sometimes I think, how am I juggling all these balls, and it's snippets for writing. It's I'll have a moment where I'll just think, that'd be a good poem, and that might be, well, the kiddies are eating their breakfast. I might jot something down or just type something into my phone as a bit of a bit of a just a memory thing, so I don't forget. Other times it's when they're fast asleep, and I'll get that hour or so before I go to bed, and it comes pouring out. I could be on a train journey to Manchester, and so I've always been able to fit things in. I think I'm a bit of a time magician. I think sometimes I don't quite know how I do it, but I do. But then they say the more you do, the more you achieve. So maybe that's what it is. But I don't know. I
Yeah.
surprise myself sometimes. But it's very easy to burn out, and that's one of my weaknesses. Is I will get involved with lots and lots of things and say, oh yes, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that, and then I'm like, oh gosh, I'm completely burnt out now. I need to take a bit of time. But life's a journey, and you're constantly learning, aren't you? But yeah, I seem to fit an amazing amount of stuff in. Maybe it's just the psychic of being a parent. You have to become quite
Yeah. You
time
learn.
efficient.
You come very good with a diary, whether it's a mental diary or on paper or something. Yeah, I know I've got no kids, but I know my sister's got one lad, and my wife's Amanda, her younger sister's got 1.5 kids. If that makes sense, right?
Yes, yeah.
That's why. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think you just have to become quite savvy with time. I think, and I don't know, maybe it's within my personality that I'm just super annoyingly super organized. I don't know, but it's very easy to take on too much, and to be so let your heart rule your head again, and going off with stuff and thinking, actually it's time to have a rest now. Can't do everything.
no,
um
definitely. What I've been still learning about it is all because this applies to me because I don't. I think I've told you I've covered a night myself anyway. over in Manchester called Speak Easy, and certainly since we took over the release night a couple of years ago, as I've noticed my writing style has changed. And that's when
Right.
you get
Okay.
influenced by the regular people coming along and the impact to where you think and stuff. Has this impacted your work, has it, since you started doing Rabbiting On with Amy?
I think it's more how I've evolved with, I suppose, finding the light. So my poetry is very much moved from being heavily focused in the dark and gradually becoming a little bit more lighter and gentle on self,
Yeah.
and also thinking wider around. So some of the societal things that I've written about with regards, artificial intelligence, for instance, or the challenges of autism, and gradually I just go with what I feel. I think obviously you do get inspired by other poets, and I do love listening to how other people perform their poetry, but I think I just do it the Mandy way. I think I
I
just do
like
it.
that. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's just me. It's me. Yeah, I think we all have influences and things, and I don't think, oh, I should write about lots of flowers because so and so writes about nature a lot. I don't. It's just what comes from here. To be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree completely. That you say it's the Mandy way. I've got it as the Andy way, so I don't know
Yeah,
exactly what you mean.
the Mandy
No,
Andy way.
yeah, it definitely was that one. So that's I'm always obviously my wife's called Amanda. And boy, she says she's got the Mandy Andy way sometimes as well. So you do it. Writing's it's a funny business at the best of times, and I don't know where it's going from piece to piece. I mean, it's like after 40 odd years, it's not going to change. So definitely with that
Yeah,
one. So
yeah.
yeah,
I tell you what, I do love listening to the poets who write about the political state of the country and the links to different things that are going on. Obviously, I've heard some very powerful poems about Gaza. Um, and everybody gets their inspiration from different things, don't they? And yeah, we're just unique, aren't we?
yeah.
We go with what we want to write with, really.
No, agreed. I've got a band going at the minute, and I'm not singing on this. I keep out of that, right? With a friend Polly called Polly Ocean, and Polly's just done this incredible vocal she has on Gaza, and I'll have to send it to you. She's astonishing, really is, and she's from Huddersfield, so
Yeah,
it's
that
like
sounds great.
more your way than mine area-wise, that's for sure. But she's incredible. I'll send that over to you afterwards.
Yeah, do.
Now,
I'd love to listen to that.
okay. Starting to wrap up. So I want to give you plenty of time because we've got a few pieces coming in the second half, as you may expect when I do deep dives. But do you have any sort of plans for the future you can reveal to us, Amanda? Maybe a second book?
Um, I would, yeah. Now that I've got my first book that I never thought I would have, I now want a second book. So I
Huge.
would, yeah, absolutely. I think a couple of years down the line, I think again, I'm not going to, pin myself onto thinking this is what I'm going to do and I must do this by, year whatever. If it happens, it happens. I'd like to think that I can have enough material to be able to produce another book. And I think what would be nice is to see how my writing evolves and what other inspirations I find along the way over this next maybe 2 years of how it could be completely different. Who knows?
Yeah, you
Or it
don't
could
know.
dry up. It could dry up. Who
I
knows?
doubt that. I very
No,
much
no, I've
doubt
got
that.
too many words in my head. I have to get them out. So yeah, I'd like to think that there will be a book number two. So I've written since the new year. I've certainly been writing. They've been coming naturally, flowing. So I'm doing what I would normally do, where I have flurries. So I seem to not just write one poem at one point. They tend to come in threes or fours, where I'll get various little themes in my head, and then I'll just have a flurry of writing. And then for a couple of weeks, it might just go quiet until I just get another thought, feeling, moment of inspiration, and then another flurry will come along. So it tends to be in threes with me. So I've
Yeah,
certainly
same
got,
here.
yeah,
Same
I've
here.
certainly got a good few since we hit 2024. So if that continues, then yeah, hopefully there'll be a second collection, and it'll be interesting to see how they differ.
Yeah, no, great. I have a habit myself, which is very similar to yours. Is a friend of mine calls them symphonies, where I can write like on my well, I've got two, three books knocking around where basically they have like say the second book's called The End of Summer, and I had the first four poems of that book were all called The End of Summer 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it was like a symphony. They all tend to flow one after the other, and I know what you mean with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of poems that I seem to like. I suppose I call them part one, part two, but they're of a similar theme. So I've got one that's called Sometimes I Wish, and I've written another one called Sometimes I Wish, part two. So but they are connected. It wasn't. I didn't consciously think I was going to do that. It was almost like just another chapter of Sometimes I Wish, and it was another poem that came. And I've got a new one that's called Lying Next to You, something words to that effect. I can't remember what the new title is, but it's very similar to the first one I wrote that's in the book. That's actually about my daughter, but now I've got another one that's got the same title, but it's part two. So it's just sometimes they evolve like that way. I can kind of relate to the symphony idea. I like that analogy. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I've done that as well myself, where you can end up writing one, then a couple of years later it can be part of a recurring theme without you
yeah.
realising. 2, 3, 4, whatever. Yeah, no, good luck, definitely. So, right.
One of my just to finish, one of my favourites. I Want to Start a Rebellion, which I will perform in the second half. And I've got an idea of another one that's I Want to Start a Rebellion, and again, it's almost like round two. So I've got the first one. I've now got another one floating around in my head, and that was provoked by a train journey to London
Ooh.
on Thursday. So that's in the making at the moment. So yeah, I quite like this idea of having part two.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. Good luck with it, definitely. So, right, give us a hard sell then, right, to wrap up. First of all, then, where can people get hold of your book then?
Okay, so shall I do the cheesy bit and hold my book up?
Oh, look at now. If people want, they might write a strange enough do this. I've just
all
done
my
the
little Look at
video.
all my
Yeah,
little tabs. Look,
yeah. Anyone
but
on
yes,
video here today can see Amanda holding the book up, and she's got all these little pieces of paper sticking out. So that's a hint
yeah,
what we're
these
getting
are
the second half.
my idiot guides to know what I'm doing. But yeah, so my book can be obviously for local people to me. They obviously they can buy that in person and have it signed from me. But ordering online is through Partnership Publishing website. So from the publishers itself, they can send the book direct. It's also available on Waterstone's website, and it's also available on Amazon. The Wrecking Ball Music Cafe book and Music Cafe in Hull. I've got some copies on their shelf, so that's very exciting. It's also available in the Wrecking Ball book and music cafe as well. So yeah, it's £9.99 if you want the price. Well worth
Right.
it. It's a good, there's a lot to read in there. It's a good buy. It's certainly what I hope people will take from it is just I think there's something in there for everybody, and I think it is a very relatable book of how we go through life and how we feel about certain things. And if it helps one person write down their thoughts on how they're feeling, then I feel like I would have achieved an amazing outcome.
The journey. That's all it is,
The
right?
journey, yeah,
Brilliant.
and it's
Brilliant.
sharing something that's been so empowering for me.
Brilliant. Where can people get hold of you then, Amanda, to do a real last wrap up question?
Yeah, okay. So as I mentioned earlier, I do have a Facebook page which is called She Wears a Heart on Her Sleeve. I also have a YouTube channel which is Mandy Crundall. So I've got my own YouTube channel. I am on Instagram, which is Amanda Crundall Poet. I also am on what we used to call Twitter. It's now weirdly called X.
Never got my head around that.
No, so I am on X as Amanda Crundall Performance Poet. So yeah, email, which is
Right.
available on my Facebook page. So yeah, I can be tracked down very easily.
Easy. Some ways it's
So
not always a good.
rich.
Some ways not always a good sign that we can make build public awareness. But yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah,
So,
obviously got lots of book events coming up soon as well. Next week, I'm at Huddersfield Library on Thursday evening, and that's with the Kirklees Author Forum event. That's called Cafe with a K. So that's again on Kirklees Library's Facebook page. Obviously, if you go to my poetry page, you'll see all the book tour dates. So yeah, looking forward to going to Soundbites early April in Leeds. Yeah, lots of events coming up where you can meet me in person if you so desire and listen to some of my poetry and doing my usual rabbiting on.
well, let's rub it on to part two. Then look at that for a tailor link. Then definitely. So, thanks, Amanda, for the first half. I've really enjoyed this. So, hang around, guys. We will see you all in a few minutes for part number two.